Hello, Wausau. I'm Mayor Doug Denny, and welcome to this morning's Wausau Works podcast. I'm joined here today with Carrie Edmondson, Assistant City Planner. Carrie, it's a great and glorious day to be in Wausau, and it's a great and glorious day to be doing our first Wausau Works podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So one of the things we're going to talk about as in our first episode is what do you do and what does a planner do and what are some of the projects that you do work on. And one of them that we're going to tee up today is the most recent redevelopment project, 1300 Cleveland Avenue. Can you tell us a little bit about what that process has been like and what is our next step?
So we have a ton happening in the community development department, a lot going on. Redevelopment projects are a key component of our work, and part of any good redevelopment project is community engagement. And the Economic Development Committee directed staff in the fall to get more information about basically what the neighborhood would like to see there. And the way they asked to do that is that we look at land use preferences, both from residents in the area, maybe people who work in the area, City of Wausau residents, and then just people that are part of the greater Wausau community. The site has been vacant for a while. It's kind of has a storied history. It's part of a larger transition in Wausau away from manufacturing. Manufacturing was a core of the community for a long time, and in some ways still is. But as we know, the landscape of our employment centers has changed, and we're moving away from that. And that site has been vacant and city-owned for some time. And we have been going through DNR redevelopment on that site for some time. So in January, we held a community engagement session and it was part of the regular neighborhood meeting for that site.
This was done in the neighborhood group on the southwest side.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And they have a very, very active neighborhood group. And that's pretty unique, actually, especially post-COVID. It's very difficult to get people to attend, especially governmental functions. I mean, they're not that exciting.
Oh, come on now.
I mean, it's not at the top of a lot of people's lists for how they want to spend their time. And I will say that neighborhood group really is an exception. I mean, they are very connected. They're very passionate about their neighborhood. They feel a lot of identity. And we had great numbers come out. And we had people that were really genuinely interested in the site. And we walked through a survey at that meeting. We talked about different types of land uses. It could be residential uses. We had some commercial, which can be a store, restaurant, etc. Some park uses. We had a wide variety because the committee asked us, to look at everything. So we walked through those uses, explained them, gave people kind of a better idea of each of them, and it was really interesting to get the feedback.
And feedback is important for a lot of reasons, but preferences you mentioned, we're not a monolithic one-size-fits-all community. Each community has its own little vibe, if you will, flavor, and what's important is that it fits. So it fits community-wide, it fits for the neighborhood, and it complies with our commitment that we are going away from non-industrial uses, particularly there and along the river where we've recognized that those are valuable pieces of property that can be used for something more quality of life related. Tell me a little more about the process. How did it work once you started receiving the feedback?
Alder Killian is the alder for that neighborhood. She's very passionate about the neighborhood. I would say she's very in tune with what people would like and ways to get out and meet people where they are. And so she had really good advisement throughout the process. So we had a survey at that meeting. We had the opportunity to complete a paper survey or a digital survey on people's phones if they preferred during the meeting. After that meeting, we continued to make the same survey available for 30 days. We had paper copies available at the library. People could go into the library and fill them out. We had paper copies at City Hall. We put it on our Facebook page, the digital link, where people could complete it on their phones. The neighborhood rep for that district had it available at the next neighborhood meeting for people that weren't able to be at that neighborhood meeting before. We had translation and interpretation available, and that was listed on the flyer. People could contact us if they needed those services. We really, really tried to get a wide range of response. We didn't want to we don't want an echo chamber. I mean, we want to hear from different people. We want to really get a representative sample. We really have different people that can be interacting with the site in a lot of different ways, and we want to know what all of those people think, not just a small group of people.
Sure, and I was at that. Oh, it was at the wastewater treatment plant conference room where we had that last meeting, and one of the other things that was important, and they reiterated the environmental impact there. So that's why it was all the more important we look at non-industrial, because the residents there are concerned that the site had some unsavory history, if you will, and we want to address that as well. So we are able to reassure them, and once we have the results, I think the residents will confirm that that's really what they want. They want something that will enhance the neighborhood. It will blend in with the neighborhood. And I don't know if you're at a point where you can give us or tip us off on a couple of those ideas, but what kind of things did you find? I assume you didn't find a pallet plant or a chemical plant was on their high list of priorities there.
You're right. That did not come through. You're absolutely right. And, honestly, I was a little surprised. Residential was not consistently a favorite. It wasn't something that people really wanted. So one of my coworkers and I, we hung some door hangers to let people know about that public meeting. And one person that we talked to during that said, we just need more for kids to do. And I've thought about that since, because I would say that was kind of a theme throughout in the responses. People wanted to see like an active outdoor recreation. Maybe that could be a park, but maybe it could also be something privately run, where it's an active spot where people are able, and I don't know quite what that would look like, and I don't think we're quite to that point yet, but that was high. Natural area was high. People liked the idea of a community or senior center. There were some commercial uses that were high, like an outdoor garden center, for example, ranked really high, especially with people right in that neighborhood.
So activity-based as opposed to sleepy bedroom apartment complex.
Right, exactly. Yep. So there was a want for, some kind of interactive experience and something where people can have an experience, right in their neighborhoods. So I think we'll get really great direction from the Economic Development Committee, and that's what's nice about being a staff person, is we're basically bringing them this survey data and saying, here's what people said, here's what they want. And then they are the officials, they're the elected officials that then tell us, maybe we want to proceed with an RFP. Maybe we want to look more into these options and see the feasibility. So we'll get good direction that way. But that did kind of surprise me. I expected more of a residential,
Sure.
Bent. And we didn't see that a lot.
So then this will inform what is that next step, whether it's a feasibility on a few of the ideas or whether it's maybe a broader-based RFP that opens it up to some of those likable options.
Yep, exactly.
So 1300 Cleveland Avenue in that southwest side neighborhood is getting some attention, but there's more going on in the southwest side Thomas Street neighborhood. What else might be happening down there, Carrie, that you can update us on?
So we did have a ribbon cutting last summer for the new Peckham Way segment, and that's a paved trail that goes around the wastewater treatment plant. Very beautiful segment, just landscape-wise, and really nice lighting.
It's beautiful right along the river. It was an awesome day when we did it. I remember that.
It was. I mean, it's a great segment. So what we had, though, we had kind of an issue where it ended, and we didn't have the ability to acquire property to continue it along the river. And it's not really a good trailhead ending. So we did some public engagement at the end of last summer with the neighborhood and talked about what would they like to see in terms of an on-street connection. So the good news is those are local roads there, and there isn't a lot of traffic. So it's not like people are biking on a heavily traveled roadway, but it's still, what is our best spot? Where do we want people biking? And so we were able to really connect with those neighbors and talk about options. And the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee did vote on an approved route, and that has been determined. And it kind of winds along the river just on those streets there. And there's a few different streets that are included in that. And so this spring, we're going to be installing signs on that route. And then also, North Central Technical College was able to help us with a stencil that's the River Edge Parkway logo, which is basically kind of the trail winding through green and blue background. And we're going to be painting some on-street logos so that people know that they're still on the trail connecting from Peckham Way to DC Everest Park. So it's another neat thing that's happening in that neighborhood. And I think in general, there's just a lot of revitalization and, looking at different ways to kind of revitalize that area.
Yes, and speaking of neighbors in that area, well, you did have an outreach session for the bike,
Yep.
that bike portion connecting on the streets. You had neighbors come in and we had some input. And Colby is one of the neighbors down there.
Yep.
Colby just recently did a couple of things. They built some workforce housing down there, and then they were just recently in for an award at City Hall. Can you tell us what that was?
Yep. They just received the Wausau Sustainability Award. The Sustainability Committee last month voted on that. They had a really great solar rooftop array project, very robust installation. And then they're doing other sustainability initiatives like conversion to LED lighting and some other really great things on their property. They just received an award and are building workforce housing. With the existing employers, there's a lot going on. A lot of different revitalization in that neighborhood.
Great. Sounds like there's a lot of neat things going on in the southwest side neighborhood, Thomas Street neighborhood, and that's just 1/10 of the city. So we got a lot more to talk about in future podcasts, planning being a significant portion of what we do up here at City Hall. So thanks again for being here, Carrie, and thank you for watching Wausau Works podcast, and we'll see you next time.